Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, powered by Braden. This is your front row seat to the stories of local leaders, both nonprofit and for-profit, who are shaping our communities. Every episode brings you leadership insights, lessons from challenges, and practical strategies you can use today. And yes, we'll keep it real and have some fun along the way. If you're ready to elevate your leadership, hit subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Now, let's dive in.
Hey everybody, Jason Ulm here with Braden Business Systems, and I'm excited to do another episode of the Elevate Powered by Braden podcast. And I've got a reasonably new friend. I'm actually up from Northern Indiana, kind of where I am as well, right? And so it's a couple of Northern Indiana boys sitting here talking, sharing some stories. But Jeff, welcome to the show, and maybe just a quick introduction about yourself.
Jason, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Jeff Hagerman. I'm the chairman of the Hagerman Group, which is a fourth generation, 118-year-old construction company.
Just a couple of years.
Just a couple of years. A lot of years, or a lot of days, I do feel like I'm 118 years old. But I am the fourth generation that a company my great-grandfather started back in 1908. So very proud of that. But we're a construction management, general contracting, self-performing company. Actually started in 1908 as a masonry contractor.
No kidding.
So that's how we got our start, and evolved over the last 18 years into providing a very diverse set of deliverables, and it's been fantastic.
Super cool. Can't wait to get to that part of the story, but let's kind of go back to the beginning. Let's go to the genesis. So where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
The Fort Fun.
Fort Wayne. It's been
Fort Wayne
as well.
Yeah.
We've got it all up there, but went to Northside High School, so yes, I'm a river rat, which is fantastic.
You know, the first time we met, you had said you're a river rat, and I knew what that was, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm an Auburn boy. I know those guys down there. And so, all right, so Northside, growing up in the city, right, going to Northside High School. What did high school look like, and what was the decision when you leave high school? Where'd you go next?
Yeah, well, high school, to this day, I still have a plethora of my good friends from high school that I still hang out with, and I still see.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
We just built such a great bond through those years. Because the high school years are so influential, right?
You're together every day.
You're together every day. You're growing together. You're learning together. So those bonds are still really tight today with some of my best friends, and so loved every minute in Fort Wayne and Northside High School specifically. And but at that time, I was on the track. I wanted to go to Purdue University, and had the opportunity to play tennis at Purdue. So I joined the tennis team, and but also entered the engineering school at that time. And people called me crazy for jumping into engineering, taking out a varsity tennis spot, and how much commitment that is.
But any varsity sport, I mean, obviously, is a huge time commitment.
Back then, not nearly as much as it is today. It's crazy today, but there was a lot going on. But what a great experience, and just really enjoyed that opportunity. But at that time, as I grew up in the construction industry, through the family, on the site, I always had this fascination with space. I was a space junkie, and growing up through middle school and high school, just everything about it just
Really
fascinated me. But I had construction in my blood, and it's just where it's where
obviously family business starting in 1908. So I'm curious, right? So fourth generation, go back into middle school, high school, before you get into Purdue to go down the engineering track. It's in your blood. What's that look like? Were you working for the family company? Were you out on site? I mean, what did your childhood look like with a business that had been now with your dad, right? Third generation leader. What's that look like for you as you're coming up through those young years?
Yeah, great question. I did have a hammer and a trowel in my hand when I was 3. I'm just kidding.
Building walls, doing stuff. I was
a couple labor laws brewing maybe at that time. But no, obviously, what I enjoyed most growing up was jumping in the car with my grandfather and my father and touring the job sites.
Really?
seeing those when I was in elementary school and middle school. And
Yeah.
it just fires the passion, right? It just,
Sure.
You're just out there seeing things that are just so incredibly complicated, coming together and just and ultimately in the end providing a space for a client and an end user that is going to make them incredibly happy.
Right.
And so growing up and seeing that and
Yeah.
feeling that, it was just a great experience. And again, just continue to help
cool.
boil the blood of the construction blood, if you will.
Yeah. So growing up, going through high school, you've seen all those things. You enjoyed being with your dad and your grandpa. How cool that is to be able to have that experience, right? A couple of generations with you and learn from them. But you ultimately make the decision you're going to get into engineering.
Yeah.
You're an Indiana kid, so of course that means Purdue.
Right.
But so you mentioned you played tennis in college as well. So you're playing tennis in high school? You played
Yeah.
tennis from a young kid? Where did tennis come from?
So the tennis was it was interesting. So the buddies that I referenced earlier, we went through elementary school together, middle school together, and it was in middle school. And during the summers, since we didn't have cell phones and do all those things, we were outside. We were outside playing.
Yep.
And every summer we chose a different sport that we wanted to play.
No kidding.
We picked basketball for one summer. We commit to basketball, just go out and play.
Okay.
Or football, it was our 8th grade year. We decided to play tennis. So I'd never really played tennis before 8th grade, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And we all tried out for the Northside High School tennis team, and
Yep.
the majority of us made the team. And
No kidding.
I surprisingly made the varsity my freshman year because team wasn't great my freshman year.
Yeah.
We got to play number 3 singles, and it just grew from there, and absolutely loved it. And so going back to your other question too, of working in the construction business. So the summers, I started working as a laborer in our yard operation.
Okay.
When I was 14 or 15.
Whatever the law would allow, that's what age you probably were.
Absolutely.
Or close to it.
Close to it.
We'll go wink.
Let's go wink on that one. But so I spent 2 summers working in the yard as a laborer, and
Okay.
just helping our yard operations support our field operations. And then during my senior year, junior and senior year, I had the opportunity, because of where I was in tennis, I was had the honor of being the number 1 high school player in the city at that time.
No kidding.
So I had the opportunity to teach. So I got invited to teach at Orchard Ridge Country Club up there, but that got in the way of my continuing working for Hagerman Construction. So, but my dad was nice enough to give me flexibility. I went and taught during certain hours, then I would go work as a laborer out on a job site, and so I got the best of both worlds.
What a cool experience growing up, right? So you're working, you're seeing all the different things. You see the end results of what your company does. You're actually seeing the beginnings of those things, kind of the origins in the yard, in the field, moving things around, doing that kind of labor. That's cool to see. You pick up tennis in 8th grade, and by the time you're a senior, you're the number 1 guy in the city. That's pretty awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
And most of the time you think of tennis, it's like my mom or dad played, and I started playing as a kid and all those things. You don't usually hear neighborhood buddies picking up rackets and making it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? And so now
Lakeside Park.
Lakeside Park, absolutely. Yeah, sure, absolutely. I sure do. That's right. Yeah.
That's where
No
we started.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. All right. So you make the decision. You're a river rat no more. You're going to go on to college. Why engineering? What did you? Going into that field, what did you think a career might look like coming out of Purdue?
Aeronautical engineering.
Aeronautical. Because space.
Space was still just a fascination for me. I enjoyed the math, I enjoyed the physics and the science, and but I ultimately, taking the passion of construction in my blood, I ultimately wanted to build space stations.
No kidding.
That's what I wanted to do.
So what a combination, taking a passion for space and then knowledge, kind of that general hands-on, I want to be able to build that.
That's right.
All right, so you go into Purdue.
Yep.
You're going down that path.
Yep.
How does the 4 years progress, and what's it look like for you?
Yeah, well, it came to a screeching halt pretty quick. Unfortunately, it was sophomore year when because at Purdue, your freshman year engineering it's just general engineering.
Okay.
It's your sophomore year is when you
That's when you
say,
make
we're going to,
decisions.
aeronautical or construction engineering, civil engineering, chemical engineering, electrical. And I met with my counselor that sophomore year, and she advised me. She said, "Look, you understand where we are with the space program today with NASA. NASA was broke. They were talking about defunding NASA at that time.
Oh, wow.
And her advice was very clear. She said, look, for you to get a job in the aeronautical space industry, when you graduate, you're going to need to be in the top 1% of your class here at Purdue." And I went, that's not going to happen.
Right.
That's not going to happen, unfortunately. I'm still playing tennis. I enjoy the social aspects of college.
Yeah, there's all these other things. There's tennis, there's girls, there's fun.
There's a few distractions.
Right. So I'm a well-rounded individual, is what you would say to your counselor.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's better will.
Yeah, you're well-rounded, and so you're choosing to do something different than go that path. All right. So they tell you it's probably not going to work out for you on that side.
So I brought my aspirations back down to earth, and so I entered the construction engineering and management program,
Gotcha.
which was again part of the engineering school, but solely a focus on construction, with a construction focus.
Okay.
So ended up staying there for the remainder of my time at Purdue, and graduated with a construction engineering degree. But with that came a requirement for internships. So the CEM program at Purdue requires 3 summers of internships of field experience.
Yeah. So basically, starting your sophomore year, you're doing an internship.
That's
okay.
right. That's exactly right. And looking back at it now, the really unique and great thing about that program is for kids like myself who have a family construction business, you're not allowed to work there.
Damn.
So that you will have to go work for another company, wherever it is in the country, and spend either all 3 summers with them, or if you choose to go look at other companies, you can, but it can't be your family
This can't be
business.
your family business.
That's right.
Did you know that when you went into Purdue that was going to be a requirement?
When I went into the construction engineering program, I did.
You did. Okay.
did.
So you knew that, right? So now you'd had history, obviously, with the family business. You're a sophomore. Where do you go first? What's that first company you're working with that isn't Hagerman?
Well, and so the cool thing was too, as a sophomore, the process, you had to go through interviewing process. So it's not like I could just pick.
Well, you didn't just pick. So
No.
somebody had to select you.
That's right.
Oh,
So
okay.
these companies who participate in the CEM program come to campus and they interview the kids who are part of the CEM program, and then you either you get an invite to be a part of their program or not. And so you learn at a very early age what it takes to interview.
What a great
It's
experience.
Great experience.
So I'm curious in that process and how they did it at Purdue. Was somebody coaching you on the interviewing process, or were you going in there kind of cold as yourself, learning as you go?
No, there was the program, the internship program at Purdue I'll say is, from my opinion, second to none. They really take care of their students. They mentor them, they guide them, they educate them on how the process works, how to interview, what to do, what not to do when you're out there in the field. They come and visit, actually, you while you're in your summer trips. They travel the country to come make sure that, number one, you're providing the service you need to provide to the company, but also the company's providing the service back to you,
Of course.
as the intern, because you're out there to learn.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You go through the interview process. Somebody selects you. Who selects you?
Well, I was lucky enough to get selected by Messer Construction. So it was a firm out of Cincinnati, Ohio, who has grown leaps and bounds since my days of working with them back in 1990. I think it was my first summer with them, 1990, 91. And spent 3 wonderful summers with Messer in Cincinnati, working on everything from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital well, I spent most of my summers there, if I recall.
Okay.
So because it's such a large project, it took years.
Multi-year
So
project.
it was fun to go back and see. And yeah, so great experience there. And then, of course, came graduation time. And the question, they always encourage you, don't just look at the company you interned with, interview, go through the process, talk to everybody. But the decision at that time was that I was not going to go back to our family business. I wanted to continue to learn from other companies, and a lot of it, quite frankly, Jason, had to do with proving it to myself.
That's interesting. So because you think about that, you come out, you're 22-ish, 23, something like that. 3 summers now in another business, really the first time you've been outside of the family business, right? And you're finishing up school. You could make the choice, right? And some would probably say maybe it's an easier choice, perhaps, I don't know, right? But to go towards the family business, obviously people are going to know you there. But now you're going to go out and potentially look at something different. And you want to prove it to yourself. That's really cool to see at that age, to be able to do that. So do you pick up then from Lafayette and head to Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, picked up from Lafayette, went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and I had a couple offers actually out of school, but I just had such a great experience with Messer. Yeah. Chose Messer and loaded up the car, went to Cincinnati, and spent a year in Cincinnati working on miscellaneous projects, and then had the opportunity to move to Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Where they were opening a new office.
Oh, no kidding.
Which, talk about a great experience. So
sure.
There were, if I recall, 3 of us that were assigned up to Columbus to wear multiple hats. Obviously, as a new office, you're
doing everything.
Yeah, you've got the support from Cincinnati, but you're kind of doing everything. You're learning everything.
Yeah, right.
That's for sure. So I will. That was probably one of the best experiences from drinking from a fire hose in a positive way.
Sure.
That I think I've had, because it's and a lot of credit to Messer. They gave you a lot of leeway. They gave you rope,
really,
to learn and to take risk. Yeah. And they had your back. And they had your back, and if things didn't go the way they were supposed to go, and and that meant a lot. Yeah, so
it's interesting because you and I have talked a little bit more, and I know a little bit more of where your story kind of goes from there. But you can hear the way that it shaped your leadership today. You can see a lot of those seeds being planted over there in Ohio with Messer.
That's right.
Yeah, it's really cool. So now here you move from Cincinnati, you're up in Columbus. You get a chance to open that new office, and really, reasonably young in your career, wear a whole bunch of hats. Do a whole lot of things, right? Probably a little bit sooner than maybe you would have if you would have gone somewhere else, right? How long are you there, and kind of what's that journey look like? How do you end up with Messer and kind of end that journey there?
Yeah, well, I was a project engineer, obviously, coming out of school, and when I went to Columbus, was a project engineer. We had a project manager, 2 project managers that were located up there with us, and then there was a vice president that oversaw the market, but he was not based in Columbus at that time. And so having the ability to work with 2 more senior folks who've been around the block a few times with Messer and been there a few years was invaluable. And, as we picked up some projects, again, going back to wearing a lot of hats, but having those 2 individuals, and then, of course, the VP who came in, being such a small group, you're always communicating, you're always talking, you're always working together.
And a lot of face-to-face, right? So at that time, it's a lot of face-to-face, a lot of communication real time, right?
Yeah. So I grew fairly quickly. I learned a lot. So, of course, I was promoted to a project management level. And in, I think it was in 94, 95 time frame, promoted. I was working on a job for Ashland Chemicals at the time. With my boss was Vicki Coomer, and she was an incredible mentor. She was just a great lady who incredibly sharp, and she was the PM on the job before I assumed the PM position. And that was my first job that I had the opportunity to lead. And then my father called, how to move. So I'm halfway through this job.
Yeah, you're halfway through.
I'm halfway through the job. My dad calls. It was 1996, 5 or 6.
All right.
And he said, "Hey, how are things going? Hope you're having a good time. Didn't know if you were considering coming back to the business." And because we have a really good opportunity that we just picked up in Indianapolis, and would love for you to be a part of the project. Well, the project ended up being Victory Field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just an iconic
cool
project here in Indy. But I was literally about 50% of the way done with the Ashland Chemical project. I'd just been promoted over there as project manager. It would have been the worst thing I could have done, not only for myself looking back at it, but for the company, for Messer, and I wasn't going to do that. So I politely declined and said, I've got about another year here on this project, and at that point in time, maybe Dad, we can reconnect. Ironically, it was about a year later. I got the call. We had finished up Ashland. I was actually in limbo between projects. My dad said, "Hey, we picked up another pretty cool project in downtown Indianapolis. It was the foundation package for what is now Cambridge Fieldhouse." So really, just cool opportunity, really cool project. And I made a decision to leave Messer and come back to the family business at that time. And that was in late '97.
Wow. But here's the thing. We go back to when you were in college and you made the choice not to go with the family business. You wanted to prove something to yourself.
Yeah.
By going that route, right, you get an opportunity to get outside your comfort zone. You get to meet new people. You get to open a new market, experience things probably a whole lot quicker than you would have in other places, right?
Yep.
And then now finally the timing's right. Okay, so the timing's right. 4th generation, you're finally coming back home. You're coming to work at Hagerman. What's your first project? Is it Conseco is what you're working on? Cambridge or?
Yeah, it was Conseco.
Back then,
it was Conseco Fieldhouse at that time. That was the first one that I was assigned to. And it was funny, when I was talking to my dad and trying to figure out, and Dave Ford, by the way, ran our Indianapolis office.
Okay.
An incredible guy, and an incredible good friend of mine to this day, and an incredible mentor.
Okay.
Of mine. So Dave ran our office here in Indy, and that's who I was going to be reporting to. But I was talking to Dad. I said, "But I'm a big time project manager now. I've been promoted. So I'm coming back to Hagerman. I'm expecting that's going to be my role over there." He said, "No." He said, "You have done a good job, from what I understand, of learning the Messer way.
Yeah.
How Messer builds.
Yep.
You do not know how Hagerman builds. You do not know how we do business.
Wow.
So you are going to have to relearn how we do things. So you are going to start as a field engineer down on the Conseco Fieldhouse Foundation package.
Yep.
Learn how we build. So get in the field with our teams, our field guys, because that's where you learn. That's
100%. That's where it happens, right?
And I have to admit, I was frustrated, but it was the best advice I could have received. And so did that for 4 months, and then of course worked. I also wore a project manager hat to a certain extent on that job. It was just a great experience.
Yeah.
Great experience. So.
Because Indianapolis, you got the headquarters was in Fort Wayne.
Yep.
Right? And so Indianapolis was a kind of a newer market. Somebody's running it.
Just over the office, and we've been doing work here in Indianapolis since the 50s.
Okay.
But we didn't open an office here until 88.
88, right? So from 80, till 95, you guys get Victory Field and, Cambridge Fieldhouse. Those are two, just amazing projects, right? So those are landmarks for you. So you're now in the business. You're learning the Hagerman way. Mm-hmm. How does your journey progress to kind of where you end up now?
Yeah, it was an interesting journey because the year after I joined the company, my dad already had it in the works before I came back. We acquired this company here locally called Geipel DeMars. And Geipel was a large construction management firm, one of the largest in Indianapolis. And our construction management and delivery wasn't as developed and strong as we needed it to be, because it was a deliverable that was growing very, very, very fast.
Okay.
So all the credit to my dad and his team for putting together the thought of let's strengthen it by acquisition. And we did that and closed in 1998.
Okay.
So we now had Geipel, DeMars, Hagerman up and running in 1998. That was focused purely on construction management work. We still had Hagerman Construction and Hagerman Incorporated, which is our GCCM and self-perform groups. We self-perform our own concrete, self-perform our own masonry, carpentry, etc. But now we have this construction management group with incredible ties in central Indiana, offering darn near every deliverable we can.
Yeah, sure.
So I was able to infiltrate the GDH world, if you will, the Geipel Hagerman world, and spend a lot of time there to learn more, because Messer did a lot of CM work.
I see. Okay.
So I knew a lot of that deliverable. And eventually, and I can't remember exactly what year, I want to say it was 2004 timeframe, I became president of Geipel, DeMars, Hagerman.
Okay.
So going from the project manager, field engineer, project manager in 97, 98 to the president of Geipel, DeMars, Hagerman, I mean, it's a pretty short time.
Yeah.
And I think that had a lot to do with how quickly we were evolving and growing, and quite frankly, great mentorship that I received from the whole Hagerman team.
It's interesting, and one of the things we talk a little bit about is culture, right? And without saying the word culture, without doing those things, you've actually talked about your culture. And I think it starts with your dad saying, by the way, you're not going to do that, right? Because we have a way of doing things, son, and you need to learn that first to make sure that we continue forward. Otherwise, it breaks the culture, right? It would break the culture. So I'm curious now, with all the growth and folks kind of all over Indiana, just speaking about culture, how are you maybe doing some of those things to continue to build that kind of the Hagerman way?
Yeah, that is, I would say, the $1 million question, but I'll say the $10 million question. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is really, really
It
hard.
is.
And I really applaud all the generations before me as we have grown through now 4 generations, because it is proving to be one of the most difficult things that we're experiencing, because especially in today's environment, right? It's a different society.
Mm-hmm.
There's different work ethics.
Yeah.
There's different, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, when we were out there working, there were expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just, you did what you needed to do, period.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there was no, they talk about work-life balance and all this stuff today. There wasn't travel teams for your kids and all these things.
Right.
You did what you needed to do, and that helped build the culture and the success of a corporation. Today, it's not that. And as we're growing, and we're growing very quickly, we're adding a lot of new people, a lot of young people. So you're taking that culture, the Hagerman way that we've had for 100+ years, and now we're adding in significantly more new people who come from different colleges, who have different cultures, who have different ideas, and it's proven to be very, very difficult. The key is making sure that we stay true to our values, why we do what we do, which are incredibly important, and we continue to, which ties to our values, continue to do things with integrity, and our values are our decision-making parameters. They have to be every single day. So making sure that our entire organization understands that this is who we are, this is why we do it. We'll continue to maintain the Hagerman way and making sure we've got it. But as you know, Jason, it's not easy.
It's hard. It's hard in any business. It doesn't matter if you have 10 people or 10,000 people, right? And as soon as you start getting geographically dispersed and you have people operating in different places and different levels, it's difficult. But you can tell that the core, and you talked about a number of individuals, kind of mentors along the way, people that are still with you. When people stay like that, it's because all companies have challenges. Everybody does. We all do. Everybody has challenges. If you handle them right and you take care of people, they stay. If you don't, they go. That's usually what happens. And so those folks that are there that want to be there because they know something will happen, but you'll take care of it, that's the kind of company they want to work for. So maybe before we get into a little bit of technology and some community stuff, you mentioned a little bit about Hagerman, but let's talk maybe just a few minutes about Hagerman in general, kind of all the stuff you guys do, because I didn't realize all of the stuff you guys did, some of the international pieces and those things. So maybe just talk a little more about the entire business.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have the Hagerman Group, which is all that really is that became our branding company, because we had, back in the day, we had Hagerman Incorporated, we had Hagerman Construction, and we had Gable DeMars Hagerman.
Okay.
And it got to the point where people are like, who?
Who's who? Right?
Yeah, who's who? Who does what? So in 2008, which actually is a really interesting year, because that is the year that I took over the Hagerman Group. And we created the Hagerman Group at that time. And it was truly a branding, net zero company. It's just literally a branding company, a marketing company, but also housed the strategic leadership team at that time.
Okay.
And because that was their job. Their job was to make sure that Hagerman Inc., Hagerman Construction, and Gable DeMars Hagerman were doing what we needed to do strategically and had the right direction and focus and maintenance of culture, et cetera, as we went. So, so as I mentioned, we have Hagerman Inc. too. This was a company we started in 1992.
Okay.
So not very old. But it was a company that was started up in Fort Wayne primarily to address the ever-growing non-union competition population, but also the type of work that was being done in Northeast Indiana at that time.
Okay.
So Hagerman Construction was the 800-pound gorilla up there, and we were losing work because there were smaller, more mobile companies that were, and non-union companies that were kicked our butt.
Yeah, so they were able to kind of come in and pick up some of those pieces you guys would have normally gotten.
Okay, that's right. So we created Hagerman Inc., which is, we created a unique relationship with the Carpenters Union that allowed us to get some reduced rates back in the day. This was, again, 1992.
Yeah, sure.
It's all changed since then, but that allowed us to get, again, retain some ownership in the markets up there and create some flexibility. So
yeah, sure.
I alighted to, Hagerman Construction was more of the aircraft carrier, and HI became the U-boats.
Gotcha.
Basically able to get around and get a little more competitive. So since then, fast forward, Hagerman Inc. now is our general construction and construction management arm.
Okay.
For everything.
So that's everything now.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
everything corporate wide. So that is the company now that we're doing roughly over $500 million a year in that company, just CMGC work.
Okay.
As well as now Hagerman Construction became our self-perform. So
Gotcha.
It primarily now is our masonry industry sitting here today. So Hagerman Construction Corp is that. So,
Okay.
So we have those two operational entities. Gable DeMars Hagerman rolled up into HI in 2012.
Okay.
It was. So we only have the two operational entities as we speak. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's the construction piece. And then this guy decided he wanted to get a little more diverse to create opportunities for our construction company. Mm-hmm. We've done real estate since my grandfather.
Okay.
We started back in the 60s with doing real estate development. So we have multiple real estate development companies that do anything. We did a lot of retail, malls, those types of things back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Transition to industrial.
Okay.
So we're still doing a ton of industrial work today. And then also parking. So we've done some parking garage development, and which led to the development of a parking management company that we started in 2008. Not Hagerman, but a group of folks.
Okay.
So again, fast forwarding, the company is called iPark
Okay.
Management Services, and
Yeah.
it's owned by myself and Heather Rausch. Heather is the majority owner. It's a WBE company, fantastic company, but it's solely the management of parking situations, valet, We've got great clients like Ascension St. B's, a great client.
Okay, great.
The Colts are a great client
Okay.
of ours. We've done a ton of work at Newfields. So it's been a great experience. But it's also helped us continue on the construction piece, provide almost an A to Z solution when we're talking about parking.
Sure.
So
I mean, you could do everything. Build it, develop it, run it, manage it. Yeah, what a great solution.
yeah. So, and then the most unique one is Hagerman International, which started as it was almost a joke, to say the least. A buddy of mine who lives in Dubai, who owns an architectural engineering firm over there, called and said, "Hey, would you be interested in creating a construction management group here in Dubai?" And I said, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
It was really that simple.
Yeah.
And I said, I've got enough issues, in Ohio.
Yeah,
let alone-
we're good here.
We're good.
Midwest.
Yeah, we're good." And he was persistent for about 6 to 9 months. And then he was smart and said, "Hey, Jeff, why don't you come over here to Dubai and tell me no?"
Yeah.
Well, he was right. I fell in love with Dubai and
go
people and everything about it. It was exploding. Opportunities were everywhere. But it took a long time to set Hagerman International up. It's a Dubai-based company.
Okay.
And it took almost 3 years to get it set up, at which time the price of oil plummeted to $34 a barrel. The Yemen war started. There was a lot going on. Dubai shut down.
Yeah.
So then COVID hit right after that.
Boom.
So from 2018 to really 2022, nothing. But we were blessed with a ton of work here in the
Sure.
U.S. And so it became just more of a hobby/strategy that was kind of on the back burner.
Yep. Sure.
And so I went over there and met with my partner in 23 and said, "Okay, let's make some decisions.
Good.
I appreciate coming over, love seeing you, love being in Dubai, but let's make some business decisions here." And fast forward to today, we have just signed our third contract over there, and we're getting things moving. So
That's awesome.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It's so cool to hear your story, right? Coming out of high school, playing tennis, and picking it up in 8th grade, and playing through, college, working through Messer, and then now the family business and how it's diversified. I mean, it's just a cool organization, right? And so I know you guys do some things culturally, and I know you do things from a nonprofit perspective, right? So maybe let's talk a little community, right?
Yeah.
The community of Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, the communities you serve. How are you and maybe Hagerman kind of getting involved in those communities?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that, because that piece of who Hagerman is started, I don't know for sure with my great-grandfather, because I did not have a chance to meet him, but definitely my grandfather, my father, and now with me.
Okay.
Giving back to the communities that we work in and partnering with the communities that we work in is an absolute priority. And quite frankly, it's one of our key strategies. It's a corporate citizenship strategy. So we have 5 strategies. We have talent, knowledge, client focus, safety, and corporate citizenship.
Okay.
All 5 of those have metrics, key measurables that we need to make sure we maintain each and every year. And with respect to the corporate citizenship, it's incredibly important for us to do that. Not just the Hagerman family.
Sure.
It's ingrained as part of the culture of our company that we give back, whether it be time, talent, or treasure.
Yeah.
It's all the above.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. And we always set aside a pretty generous percentage of our profit at the end of the year to distribute to multiple organizations. Awesome. And that's a key piece. But one that's near and dear to my heart, at least here in central Indiana, is Early Learning Indiana.
Okay.
And I sat on the board years ago, and just it was when Ted Maple was there, and I know Maureen Weber, she just retired. It's just such a good organization with such a good mission that to this day we still have a strategic partnership with them. We do an internal fundraising, for
Yeah,
lack
sure.
of better terms, that the company matches every dollar given by our employees for Early Learning Indiana. And same in Fort Wayne, the Early Childhood Alliance,
Okay.
Fort Wayne. And I'm just such a big believer in making sure that, number one, all of our children have the best opportunity at education.
Yeah.
Some form of education, because, and ironically, I just had a call with a group yesterday with the, and I'm going to space the name on it, so I'm embarrassed even me spacing the name on this, but the HQE.
Okay.
Hoosiers for Quality Education.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I had a great call with those folks regarding, and I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know much about them, but it's groups like that that are working so hard
Yeah.
to provide legislative advantages for our children to get better education. And Early Learning Indiana, what I love about Early Learning Indiana, and I'm jumping all over,
No, you're good. Yeah.
is the fact that their focus is really from birth through age 5.
Okay.
So catch these kids early.
Yeah.
And, between what HQE is doing and their focus to work on, and a lot of theirs is K through 12, but what ELI is doing, if we're able to just significantly improve the opportunities for
Sure.
education, but the quality of the education. Now all of a sudden you're arming these kids.
That's right.
You're giving these kids an opportunity to do something so much more
Yeah.
than maybe what they're hampered with right now.
That's right.
And I am a huge believer that the problems that the challenges that we address today with our children, and if we're giving these kids the opportunity to grow and be educated and have every opportunity that all kids should have, it eliminates tomorrow's problems.
Agreed. Yeah.
We're sitting here talking about reactive. We're reacting to building prisons and doing all these other things because we didn't address the root problem.
That's right.
So I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I completely agree, right? When I think about it, I think, people need to have water, people need to have food, people need to have education. And if you give them those opportunities, it gives you a chance to level the playing field. And especially those kids that are 5 years old and below, the ones that are read to, the ones that are having those types of interactions, their vocabulary gets a lot bigger.
Yep.
They have a better opportunity to understand knowledge quicker. When they get into the school system, they're better prepared, right? And so now they're ready to go in. Those who don't, they're behind.
Yep.
And sometimes it's hard for the school system to level up individuals, right? So if they don't start with a good base, it's kind of hard to catch them up.
Well, it's just like Al Hubbard said this to me yesterday on our call with HQE. He said, it's the challenge that we've had, and all the data is scary for the state of Indiana with respect to our kids. But by the time you reach 3rd grade, up until that time, you're learning to read.
That's right.
But in 4th grade, you're reading to learn.
That's right.
And if you're not reading by 4th grade, yep, exactly right.
You're exactly right. And so it's awesome to hear. And you can hear that in, the culture of the business through 4 generations and how you guys are giving back to the community internally. You can see that also being done externally. It's excellent when organizations get involved to be able to help, because the next generation, that's going to be our leaders at some point, right?
That's right.
At some point, I'm going to begin to age out of what I'm doing. Somebody else is going to be a leader in some organization.
Please take care of us.
Please take care of
Please
us,
take
right?
care of
We're
us.
trying to take care of you too.
That's right.
So love that. So one thing I want to touch on is a little bit of technology.
Okay.
Technology piece, really thinking about it, this shows an opportunity for us to share leaders, their stories and their business stories, but from all over, nonprofit, for-profit, all different types of companies. So technology is different the way it's leveraged today and how they think it may be leveraged in the future. But I'm just curious, in your business, are there things you're thinking about, and are there things you're thinking may be changing here in the near future when it comes to tech?
Yeah, that's again a great question, and I am, if my leadership team were sitting here at the table with me today and others, they would just probably chuckle a little bit because I'm the old school guy when it comes to technology, only from the perspective that number one, we didn't have it growing up, right? We built and the industry. I mean, we built buildings. That's what we do, and there isn't a technology out there today that you eliminate the human capital, we'll build a building. And there isn't.
That's right.
Today. I mean, they're getting these robots and doing certain things. But my point being is that I was always the person when our computers went down. When the computers first came out and they're in our office and they went down, people would be like, I got to go home. I don't know what to do. I'm like, you remember this?
Yeah.
It's called a piece of paper.
We got pen, we can draw things, we can write.
We have phones.
Yeah, we talk to each other.
Our field folks, we can still build a building. So I was that guy, when it came to tech. And then as I saw our tech budget each year over the last 15 years, keep going up and up and up and up, it was painful. However, and I was slow to get this, but my team, the Hagerman team and others did a good job of saying, Jeff, understand the efficiencies that we're really getting here. And so it's been a blessing. Tech has really, really helped our an industry that doesn't change. I mean, we are the slowest industry to embrace change.
Yeah.
And so tech has done a really good job of allowing us to create a lot of efficiencies for our clients, because our clients are wanting their buildings faster today.
Yeah.
And they want them done obviously in the same high quality that we always provide. And again, they just want it done in half the time. And
sure.
So how do we do that? How do we cut the submittal times in half? How do we connect? How do we cut the delivery times in half for materials and everything else? And technology has played a huge part of that.
Sure. I'm interested just real quick because it's something everybody talks about today, but AI. Are you guys
What's that?
beginning to, it's Al, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah,
My friend
yeah.
Al?
Yeah.
Looks like Al, stylized that way. So are you beginning to think about where that may take you and kind of where you're at in the journey with that?
Yeah, that's another good question. We you can't ignore it.
Sure.
Right. It's just, you see it every day. It's in your face every day in the news, and all these, obviously all the large tech companies and what they're doing, what they're investing in it, and it's the wave of the future. And for us, for Hagerman, and for me personally, I'm scared, but I'm also incredibly excited about the opportunity. We don't know what we don't know today, and I think that's what scares me. Mm-hmm. But in the same breath, that's what excites me. And we have formed internally our AI strategic subcommittee that is currently working, and I will thank you publicly for your help and your team to come in and help guide us and provide some good direction for us. But we don't know what we don't know,
right?
And AI is obviously playing a piece with creating efficiencies and reviews, things along those lines. I mean, streamlining a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
But how is it really going to play in our world where we truly work?
That's right.
And again, you look at buildings like we're in here today. I mean, how is AI truly good outside of creating more efficiencies, streamlining things? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's,
I think that's one of the best answers, right? And I want to go back to what you actually kind of said. A little bit scared, but also a little bit excited, right? That's it doesn't happen that often, right? But when we embrace some change, right, we get an opportunity for growth. Right. And if I think back, it kind of goes all the way back to the tides of your story. Come out of college, I'm not going to go to the family business. I'll go this route. I'm going to go learn something new. You learned those things over there. You mentioned part of your story was when you guys made the acquisition down here in Indianapolis, they were kind of in a line of business that Hagerman wasn't necessarily great at.
That's right.
But guess what? You had done those things over in Ohio, so you knew some of those things already, kind of positioning yourself for that, right? So getting outside of your comfort zone created the opportunity for success there. You can just hear it all through your story, Jeff. It's an awesome story. And so before we finish up, maybe just talk a little bit of fun, right?
Okay.
So like, what does fun look like for you and your family? Are you hanging out places on the weekends? What's fun for you guys?
I think everything's fun.
Yeah.
Everything's fun. No, I love to travel.
Okay.
I'm a big travel guy. Love to get out. I think a key part of growing in life is seeing other cultures and being out and about all over the world.
Yeah.
And, but I will say, especially on days like today when it's -10 out, a beach is fine for culture. For me right now. Yeah.
Agreed.
So, but no, we love to travel a lot. And, but, you know, I think I'm a big sports fanatic.
Okay.
So, you know, I attend the most of the Purdue games. My son was fortunate enough to be a part of the Purdue football team for the last 4 years before he graduated and moved on. So he experienced, you talk about a learning experience, he had the experience of the highs and lows of going to the Big Ten championship at Michigan his sophomore year and then not winning a game.
That's right.
Senior year.
Talk about the emotion there. Yeah.
What a great learning experience, right? Great opportunity to be a part of success and failure. And how do you handle it? That's right. And those things. So, but a big Purdue fan, and obviously you talk about failure, Purdue losing to IU this week. I'd be remiss for not saying that. Go Hoosiers.
Yeah.
That was hard on me, but I trust that Matt Painter will
figure it out.
Will figure it out and turn that into just such a great learning experience. And so enjoy doing that and enjoy the local environment here for the. You know, just going out to the restaurants and seeing people and I think you mentioned earlier about you know, just the community, and I think it's important. I mean, you've got to be engaged in the community and beyond just volunteering and time, talent, treasure. It's, you know, what boards do you sit on? You know, I'm a member over at Meridian Hills Country Club. I mean, I love it because you get you talk about just seeing and being around just some great people. That's right. People that you can learn from and people that are just fun to be around. So I enjoy that. Yeah. Get out and play golf every now and then. And so got to do that.
Good for you. You know,
it takes the stress level down a little bit, right?
It does take the stress level down a little bit. I just, every time we chat, I learn something new, and it's just excellent to hear just your story of kind of coming from being a river rat, going to be a Boilermaker, and now fourth generation leader, and where the business is going to go. I know it's in great hands. I know you guys are going to continue to do great things. But thank you for sharing your story with us. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank you so much for having me. And it's, you know, I was hoping we get a little bit of time to talk about the Brady story, which is obviously incredible too.
Yeah.
And it's, but it's, I mean, in what you're doing, and this is really neat.
It's a lot of fun.
This is really neat.
I mean, you think about my job, right? I get a chance to reach out to folks like you and get an opportunity to learn your story and share it. It's probably not a better job in the world, but I appreciate you doing it.
Well, I figured. I mean, that's with some of the folks you've already had on the show. I mean, you're the bottom of the barrel here. So I mean, nobody must have been returning your phone calls. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. But
awesome.
No, I really appreciate you having us on or having me on and getting a chance to tell a little bit about the Hagerman story and truly appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason.